Hi everyone, meteorologist Robert Spetta here with you. Today is currently the 7th of August, 2014, making this update about 09 Zulu, or Universal Standard Time. That's about 6 p.m. Japan Standard Time, and what we are seeing at this time is Typhoon Halong at its strongest point of where I think this storm system is going to be impacting a land area directly. And what I mean by that is we are seeing these winds sustained out here on the Daito Islands, right around 110 up to about 120 kilometers per hour. We've seen gusts well over that, upwards about 170 kilometers per hour. You can see here on the JMA radar, actually this is new, the high resolution radar, that inner eye wall pushing over the islands right now. Both North and South Daito have lost all power out here, starting right around 5 p.m. So unfortunately, conditions are very rough, and they're just taking the brunt of that eye wall. Just so you know, if you're not used to this part of the world, this is not clear skies off here towards the east. It's just the gap in the radar coverage. Daito Islands, the outer edge of what JMA sees here coming out of Okinawa Honto. As far as your winds out here throughout the afternoon, the evening hours, you have seen them around 20 knots, gusting up to tropical storm strength, about 35 knots. Now, the conditions are going to get worse as we look ahead through the overnight hours and into the early morning hours if you are out here on Okinawa. Now, do I expect anything destructive? No. It is going to pick up. Worst of it, expected from the Japan Meteorological Agency, is around 6 to 9 a.m. At that time, our storm system is going to start to track off here towards the north, and it should make a little bit of a nudge towards the west. You can even see here via JTWC's track, we have a slight westerly jog, and then you have those winds also wrapping around and coming in from the west. So starting through the early morning hours, I think that's when you're going to see the winds out here pick up, but it's not going to be anything too threatening. You see actually here on JTWC's track, we had a little wobble towards the east in just a few hours. The storm system just made that big jog, and that really is going to decrease your wind forecast for Okinawa. So good news there for you if you are watching and you are seeing the winds pick up. It's not going to get intense to the point where you're really going to have to worry. Now, the biggest problem, though, is still going to be the Daito Islands. Of course, they're still looking at the rough weather out there. The good news for the Daito Islands, as far as typhoons go, there is very few places on Earth that know how to take these storms more basically in stride. I was actually pretty surprised to see that the power went out there because the infrastructure is just built for typhoons. As far as the biggest threat coming out of this, though, it's going to be the rainfall. Some areas of Kyushu, Shikoku, over towards Iwakuni, I mean, you just saw a tremendous amount of rainfall back on Tuesday. Numerous landslides were reported out here. Actually, this is one of the landslides that you've seen. One man ended up going missing during that event. Some areas here have seen well over 1,000 millimeters into the past several days. Actually, there's your rainfall outlook, and we could see upwards of 500 to 600 millimeters in some areas here. But over the past 7 days, some areas have seen that much. These areas in darker purples, you match them with the colors here, even some areas looking into the pinks. I mean, this is 800 to 900 based on satellite imagery, not even getting into the gritty detail of some of these mountainsides. So as we look ahead, these are the areas I'm looking at for the highest flood threat. It's basically eastern Kyushu, eastern Shikoku, where we have already been reporting landslides, and also across parts of the Kii Peninsula. Other areas could see flooding, but just based on where the storm system's coming ashore, it's going to be making landfall there into the Shikoku area, and where all this rainfall is going to be basically stretching and pushing on shore as we look at it on the Friday and Saturday, just streaming into these mountainsides out here and also over towards the Kii Peninsula. That's where I think that highest threat of flooding is definitely going to be. And honestly, and I'm not trying to exaggerate the situation here, but we could really be looking at a very serious disaster unfolding going into the weekend across parts of Western Japan, just based on the fact that we have been seeing the severe flood threat out here and then more rainfall in the forecast. This is not going to be anything that you want to take lightly. Now, our storm system is going to move across Japan, and it's still going to have that southerly moisture flow. So if you are out in Tokyo, the Yokosuka area, winds are going to pick up by Sunday afternoon into the evening hours. Into Monday, some passing showers, even some thunderstorms could erupt. But the core of the storm is actually expected to maintain its strength and even push off there towards the north. And I'm not saying it's going to be a typhoon by the time it hits Russia, but Russia in around Vladivostok, you're looking at some nasty weather if this follows through. So we could be seeing typhoon strength winds, or at least tropical storm strength winds, in parts of far eastern Russia. Not something we talk about very much. Just depends on how strong the storm system stays together, and if it's technically a typhoon by the time it gets out here, because we could see some shear batter. And you can even see right here these areas in the purple stretch, or excuse me, in the blue stretching off there towards the east. That's that wind shear starting to play some sort of role in dismantling the storm system, and well, these storms definitely do not like that wind shear. So this is something we're going to watch through the coming days. As far as your forecast track, here's a look at it from the Japan Meteorological Agency. They also expected to move off there towards the north. Big flood threat for western Japan. Okinawa, though, once again, winds are going to pick up, but it's nothing that you're going to really want to worry about all that much. I mean, you probably still can go on about your daily business. You just want to be careful about what you do out here. Before I let you go, I do want to let you know we have a new typhoon, the 13th typhoon of the season in the Western Pacific. Here it is, Genevieve. Actually, you know what? Let's take a look at Genevieve's track. Look at that. It stretches all the way back into the Eastern Pacific. This is where this storm system started. We also been talking about Hawaii, and I think every major outlet in the world is talking about Hawaii and Isao and how that's going to impact there. And then Genevieve way off here. It crossed the 180 line earlier today. Now a typhoon. The thing about this one, it's going to head out to sea, so I'm not really worried about that. Just steering off towards the north. ECMWF pulls it west, but then it pulls it back towards the east again, so let's not worry about that one too much. For now, though, Halong, the big topic out here. Stay safe, everybody, and thanks again for watching.